Good afternoon and welcome to Sparks City Council meeting for Monday, April 27th. And we'll start out with a roll call, please.
Mayor Lawson is absent. Let me start again. Mayor Lawson is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Anderson.
Here.
City Council members Abbott.
Here.
Vanderwell.
Here.
Bybee.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
City Attorney Duncan.
Here.
And City Manager Lawson.
Here.
We do have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with the invocation. If you please stand with me. Pastor David Solomon Hall with the Sparks Seventh-day Adventist.
Gracious God, we thank you for this day and for the opportunity to gather in service to this community. We ask for your wisdom to guide every decision made in this chamber. Grant clarity of thought, fairness in judgment, and a spirit of cooperation among all who serve. Help these leaders to listen well, speak with integrity, and act with compassion for every resident of this city. May their work promote unity, safety, and the well-being of all people in Sparks. Bless this meeting and bless this community with peace, strength, and purpose. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please remain standing for the pledge. Mr. Duncan, would you mind leading us off?
Please put your hand over your heart. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All right. And we'll move on to public comment. And the first person we have is Jackie Moore, followed by Jim Kindness. And if you do me a favor, just state your name and go ahead and get started.
Okay. My name is Jackie Moore, and I reside in Wingfield Springs. I think I want to thank you for this opportunity of speaking to you today, but since public speaking makes me sick to my stomach, I'm not really sure. I just know that the proposed addition of 764 homes inserted into our already fully developed master plan community by placing them up and down every narrow fairway, disrupting our lives and changing what we bought into makes me even sicker. So here goes. Have you ever watched Let's Make a Deal? Well, I think the game show fits our situation. You choose a door, and behind it, you get a great deal or you get a zonk. The residents of Wingfield Springs are getting the zonk without even having the opportunity of playing the game and choosing a door. This developer invested in this project in 2000, 26 years ago. Do you think they were surprised at what they were investing in? It's not as if they chose a door and opened it up and found out, wow, we want a master plan community built around 2 18-hole golf courses. We've been in Sparks for 34 years. We moved into the new subdivision in the Vistas in 1992, and I thought we had come to the end of Sparks. We had several friends who moved out to Wingfield Springs early on in its development, but we didn't. We stayed 23 years in our home, raising our kids. In 2015, the kids were grown and gone and on their own, so we decided it was time to downsize and find our retirement home. That's when we came out to Wingfield Springs, which was already a fully developed master plan community. Mind you, we walked into our track home with our eyes wide open, no surprises. Poco Bueno is a busy little street since so many people have to travel on it to get in and out of the community. But since our kids were grown, we overlooked that. We walked in, and I remember seeing the look on my husband's face. The view of the golf course and the open space was like a slice of heaven. We put our offer in that day. We knew we were going to have to invest money to make improvements. We were the fourth owners of this home, and not one thing had been done to it, not even a shelf in a closet. We invested just over $200,000 to get the house the way we wanted it because this was to be our forever home. We have a very small backyard, and it looks really huge sitting on the golf course. We always told the kids they'd have to take us out in a box or put us in memory care. But if you took this same house and you put a 6-foot fence surrounding it with houses butting up against it, we would have never considered buying this house. We invested in our forever home, relying on open space and views. While this is not a game to the residents of Wingfield Springs, if you approve this developer's request to change our master plan handbook, you have left this community with the zonk. Please consider the damage it would do to the way of life for our residents of Wingfield Springs. Once the open space is taken away, it can never be returned. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jim Kindness, please.
Mayor, members of the City Council, Jim Kindness, resident Wingfield Springs and Sparks. Here again, ask you to reopen Fire Station 5. You're all elected to represent the people. The people have made it clear through emails and council presentations that they want our fire station Wingfield Springs open. When I say open, I'm talking about staffing a fire engine at the station, an apparatus that can put out fires and provide efficient EMS care. The ambulance at Station 5 is out of district on average more than 6 hours a day transporting patients, which leaves the whole district with no fire protection or EMS coverage. A few incidents I want to bring to your attention over the last couple of weeks. April 3rd, medical emergency call directly across the street from my house on Silverton Way. Engine 41 responded along with RIMSA. The response from Station 5 would be 1.5 miles in 4 minutes. The response from Station 4 was 4.7 miles and around 11 minutes. That's 7 additional minutes added to a response for one call. Sparks ambulance was not available, so RIMSA responded. April 6th, car fire reported on Hubble and Vista around 6:30 p.m. No engine or ambulance at Station 5. Station 5 is located half a mile away from that intersection with response time of less than a minute. Ladder 61 responded from 3.1 miles away with a response time of about 6 minutes. As a reminder, a 4-minute response time is the standard and is proven to save lives. April 20th, working structure fire reported at Comatite Court. This fire required 5 engines and 1 truck company, which left 1 engine to cover the rest of the city. Mutual aid engines from Reno and Truckee Meadows were brought in to help cover the city and staff our fire stations. Consider this, both Reno and Truckee Meadows had to abandon their own fire districts, which left those districts uncovered. These resources are vital and strategically placed to provide the most efficient response to fire and EMS calls. If you all prioritize fire protection, this fire would not have resulted or required mutual aid to cover the city of Sparks, and their residents would have kept the fire protection services they pay for in their districts. If you're paying any attention to other candidates running for office, you will know that public safety and specifically reopening Fire Station 5 is one of their top priorities and a big part of their platforms. I've not heard any of you come out and say staffing Fire Station 5 is a top priority. If it is, I would recommend coming out publicly with your plan before this election is held. All I've heard was we will staff it when we have the funds available. You have the funds, you just don't have the fire protection as a priority. If your plan is to staff the ambulance with single role paramedics, thinking that it will allow you to staff the fire engine, that's not exactly true. Even if you hired 6 paramedics today, you still need to hire more firefighters to staff the engine. We're more than a year out, probably 2 years before that station is covered with an engine. Please direct the city manager to start the hiring process now and get both of those stations covered. Fire department can run another academy and get those stations covered in less than a year. I've watched for months now as you spend the city's money on many other things that you find to be a higher priority than the safety of us residents out in Wingfield Springs. Is it really going to take someone's life for you to make it a priority? All you have to do is direct the city manager today to start the process of staffing that station, and he will make it happen. Thank you for your time. Please open Station 5.
Thank you, Mr. Kindness. And next we have Deborah Biersdorf, followed by Tom Oliveira.
Good afternoon, Council. Deborah Biersdorf. I'm here today to also voice opposition to Red Hawk Land Company's proposed amendments to the Wingfield Springs and Foothills at Wingfield Springs handbooks, as well as proposed changes to the comprehensive plans for both communities. My husband, John, and I have lived in Wingfield Springs for over 25 years and currently own 2 properties in the community. While we know there are many steps in the process related to development plans, it is important for us to share our thoughts and concerns with our city leadership. We moved to Wingfield Springs from Reno based on the guiding plans in place for future growth. We also purchased a 30-year golf membership at Red Hawk, a commitment on our part to establish roots in the Wingfield area. While we have seen tremendous growth in the general Spanish Springs area, we understand why so many people have chosen to move to this area. Along with this growth has come increased congestion, and other challenges, and we also understand this. However, we have been confident that growth in Wingfield Springs would be responsibly managed via the comprehensive plans and handbooks established and enforced by the City of Sparks. We are alarmed at the development plans requested by the Red Hawk Land Company, including the number of homes being proposed and the resulting impacts to the natural environment, including drainage, wetlands, wild animal habitat, and open space. We are also concerned about expected losses to property values, and as members of the golf course, we are concerned about the loss of a well-established asset that provides many positive impacts to our community. We hear the owners of Red Hawk are claiming financial difficulties in operating the Lakes course. This came as a surprise, as we have never heard this from current or previous owners. In fact, as members, we have been thanked for successful golf seasons year after year. Though a golf management company was hired several years ago to run the golf operations, and golf rates and other prices associated with the property have increased, owners are claiming they are losing money. And during a recent meeting with city staff, the owner stated the Lakes course will close and speculated that the Hills course would be next if it too loses money. All of this leads us to believe that this was the plan all along. Yet the handbooks changed, close both of the golf courses, and build hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes. In closing, we realize Red Hawk is a privately owned business seeking to maximize profits from their property. And as residents, we too made the decision to purchase our properties in Wingfield Springs in order to maximize our future well-being. But we made sure we understood the expectations for this community as stated in the plans controlled by the City of Sparks. We urge you, our city leaders, to honor promises made for Wingfield and keep these plans in place. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And Tom Oliveira?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. My name is Tom Olivero. I've lived in Sparks since 1976. We currently live at Red Hawk, and our house was the third house built in that area. So obviously, we've been here for quite a while, been out there for quite a while, seen a lot of changes. I'm speaking to oppose the changes to the Red Hawks Lakes course, that proposal. There's many issues. I know you've already heard from a couple speakers that should be considered, but I'd like to just focus on two if I could. First one is the traffic, and that's a main concern. It's a congested area as it is, not only Sparks itself, but getting out of Red Hawk onto Vista to go to Sparks. And with another 400, 500, 600, whatever the number is, houses there, it's going to be real tough because you have to come up the Parkway and get onto Vista, or you go the backside, you end up in La Posada, and the only reason you're going there probably if you're going to Spanish Springs High School, because you're not going to hit Pyramid to go all the way down Pyramid to get yourself into Sparks, I wouldn't think. So that's a concern, and I think it's something that needs to be thought about. The last thing that I want to mention, something kind of dear to my heart, involves the school system and the burden on them with the overcrowding. I have worked for the Washoe County School District for 43 years, 31 years full-time, 12 part-time after I retired. I've seen school built time and time again, and within 3-4 years, that school becomes overcrowded, and we go through this whole rezoning process. A great example, my grandson started at Spanish Springs. They were overcrowded. We built Bohatch, sent him to Bohatch. He was there for 2 or 3 years. Sent him back to Spanish Springs because now Bohatch is overcrowded. Same thing, his younger brothers and sisters start at Bohatch. They get 2 years, they're back over at Spanish Springs. So that's really a tough situation for the district, but more so for kids. There's no way a student in elementary school should only get 2 or 3 years out of a school before they're asked to go someplace else. Not a good situation. In conclusion, I just say this isn't a golf issue. I'm not a golfer. There's so many things to consider, and I hope that you take into all these things into consideration, not just fact, oh, it's a nice golf course and we might lose it. There's so many other issues that are going to impact Red Hawk, Wingfield Springs, and the whole city of Sparks. So again, I ask you to oppose this project. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Valencia Ray?
Okay, good afternoon. I'm here to voice my opposition to the Red Hawk project in Wingfield Springs, as well as Sparks in general, some of the concerns I have. I will just list them as bullet points. Sewer system overhaul. Sparks' aging sewer infrastructure is in dire need of repair, with estimates suggesting a $400 to $500 million price tag conservatively. Overflows and leaks have contaminated waterways and posed health risks already to residents. Adding 750 new homes and apartments would strain this already vulnerable system further. Utilities overextension. The current water supply is insufficient for large-scale development. Truckee Meadows Water Authority has warned about potential shortages under drought conditions. A $1 billion municipal debt. The city's significant debt burden, over $1 billion, limits its ability to fund essential infrastructure projects without raising taxes or diverting funds from other critical services like public safety and education. New developments would require additional services without even addressing the existing fiscal constraints. Infrastructure overload, traffic congestion, and influx of new residents will strain local roads like North McCarran Boulevard and Pyramid Highway, increasing commute times by 20 to 30% during peak hours. Emergency evacuation challenges, narrow access roads could become bottlenecks during evacuations due to rapid population growth without commensurate infrastructure expansion, also known as poor planning, again. Many major thoroughfares are already showing signs of neglect, potholes, lack of turn lanes, public safety, staffing shortages. Both the Sparks Police and Truckee Meadow Fire Protection operate below recommended staffing ratios per capita compared to national standards. Red Hawk Nature Environment supports unique flora adapted to Nevada's high desert environment, including sensitive species reliant on undisturbed habitats for survival. Housing development of this massive nature will likely lead to habitat fragmentation and degradation of recreational areas used by the community for hiking and stress relief. In summary, approving over 750 homes at Red Hawk would compromise the health and well-being of Sparks residents through environmental degradation, strained public resources, and diminished safety standards, outcomes that far outweigh any short-term so-called economic benefits promised by developers. It is clearly evident that this is not in the best interest of the Highlands, Foothills, and overall Wingfield Springs community, and I would like to thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Great, thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would wish to make public comment? All right, with that, we'll go ahead and close the public comment section and move on to approval of the agenda. Member Bivey, how about that?
Okay, that'll work. Let me hit my motion to approve. I move to approve the agenda as submitted with the change of moving consent item 8.4 to be heard as general business before item 9.1.
And Mr. Rodriguez? Second. All right, please vote. And it passes unanimously. And we'll move on to the minutes. Consideration, possible approval of minutes for the regular Sparks City Council meeting and budget workshop for April 13th, 2026. Member Abbott?
I move to approve the minutes of the regular Sparks City Council meeting and the budget workshop for April 13th, 2026.
Member Vanderwell?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Passes unanimously. We'll move on to a presentation 7.1 by the Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada, or EDON. Good afternoon.
All right. Perfect. Good afternoon, Vice Mayor, members of council. Additionally, good afternoon, Mr. Manager, Madam Clerk. And then, if I may, I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge the City Attorney. Good afternoon, Mr. Duncan. And specifically, Councilmember Rodriguez, who serves on our board and who we are grateful for the great work that he does on behalf of the City of Sparks on the EDON board. For the record, my name's Taylor Adams. I'm the Chief Executive of the Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada. I know that you all are aware of this, but just as this is our annual public briefing, just a quick reminder for the public that may be seeing this, what is EDON? Well, as I just said, we're the Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada. We're a public-private partnership. In any given year, about 30% of our funding comes from our governor and the public agencies and the communities that we support. Sparks, of course, is one of those, and we're very grateful for the ongoing support from the City of Sparks. And then the remainder of our funding, the remaining 70%, comes from businesses in Northern Nevada that generally believe that the rising tide lifts all ships, that want to invest in the future growth of our economy in a sustainable fashion. The EDON team is broken up into 4 primary outward-facing groups. We have our business attraction team, which is what we're most often known for. That's a group that travels all over the world, and I'll show you some of that in just a minute, looking for businesses that fit the profile of Northern Nevada. And, it's funny. I go back and forth between Northern Nevada. Western Nevada is really big. Northern Nevada is a little easier to define. I like to call it the beautiful space in Nevada north of Tonopah. And so obviously we work in our portion of it here, but our business attraction group is working all over the world to hopefully bring the right businesses to our community. Our business retention and expansion group is focused on ensuring that the promises we make to businesses that are coming here are true for the businesses that are here. And so they work, we have a group equal in size to our business attraction team that is meeting with Northern Nevada businesses every day, particularly in the commercial and industrial part of the economy, to see to their ongoing growth. We'll show you some of those in a moment. Entrepreneurial development is our group that works with all of the people in our community that want to start a business, invest in a business, or are trying to scale a business. And then our strategic partnerships and workforce group is a group that works with me to ensure that we are as visible in the region as we can be. Our goal is to be one of the 5 most. Our goal is that there will never be a point where we're not one of the 5 most visible organizations in Northern Nevada, so that you all know that we have our finger on the pulse of what's going on in our community. But secondarily, we also work in the workforce space to make sure that we have a robust understanding of what a good day one employee looks like in the commercial and industrial part of our economy, and that we're communicating what we learn from those major employers to our educational providers, so that we're ensuring that we can continue to create great opportunities for the young people that are completing their education here on a semester over semester basis. What happened last year? I always like to start with just the raw data. Here's a listing of the companies that chose us last year. This is not as big a list as we're accustomed to seeing, but I don't have to tell you all, we are still working through some of the uncertainty that we saw in the market around high interest rates, around tariffs. That said, we still, I believe, well outkicked our coverage compared to our peers. And in these last few months, we've really seen activity pick up. Here's an easier, sort of more digestible bite of what we saw here. I think this is a really important slide because I get a question every day about data centers in particular. And it's how many data centers? Why are we only doing data centers? Well, I like to show this so that you all can see we're not only doing data centers. I know that, again, this is something that you all are well aware of, but just for the public that are watching, I think it's important to know that about 45% of the companies we assisted last year were specific to logistics and distribution, which has been a real strength for our region going back to the end of the Great Recession. A third directly attributable to advanced manufacturing. Advanced manufacturing, we saw that use start to grow in our economy in 2017 when Tesla located here and has now proliferated through Northern Nevada. E-commerce fulfillment, think of that really as distribution plus, but same thing. And then 17% of our work last year is attributable to technology or information technology build out. About 80% of what's in that 17% in that orange pie would be attributable to data centers that were coming to our region. So all that to say, certainly that is part of our work, but I think it's great for the community to know that it is not the entirety of our work and that we are still seeing our economy grow in a meaningful and sustainable way across the entirety of the platform. What does that look like in business development? Well, here's a quick look at our current pipeline. We saw advanced manufacturing opportunities. Energy generation has been a big part of what we're talking about. As it relates to Sparks specifically, we were so pleased to see that Casio, most everyone knows that name. It's been a household name for a long time, but we were so happy to work with you all to welcome Casio to Sparks, as well as BitDeer, which is a company that makes the equipment needed for cryptocurrency mining. That's now happening here in Sparks. That was over 100 jobs. And then we're seeing a number of other smaller announcements that came through, but those were two great marquee announcements for Sparks that we saw in the current year. And so we're really happy to see that see that sort of growth in the community. I mentioned a moment ago that we saw that we're working all over the world. When I got here about 3 years ago, over half of our inbound companies came from California. Certainly California continues to be good to us. But I think it's important to know we started asking ourselves the question, okay, what does it look like if we look on a broader set of the United States, recognizing there are 46 states in the U.S. that aren't California and Nevada. Here's what's great. The first year that we did that, we located projects from 10 different states here in the region. Last year, we added 4 more and are now working on 3 continents internationally to bring great manufacturing companies and tech companies into our communities that are creating jobs with last year an average value of just less than $80,000 per to our citizens. Now, it's important to know if we're talking about an $80,000 value, that's a spectrum. Some of those were $200,000 or more. On the low end, we saw jobs around 50,000, but averaged out, that came into about 80 across the entirety of the year. And so we're really happy to see how attractive our market is to great companies looking for a home in America. Here are some numbers to tie into business attraction. We saw 400 jobs created across the board, I believe those 400 are attributable directly to Sparks, over 800,000 square feet of industrial space that was filled. We hosted 121 site visits, saw 12 projects closed across the entirety of the platform, and that resulted in just over $500 million in capital expenditure. Business retention expansion. This is what I want to stop and talk for a minute about how important this is. We met with 264 companies. Let's see, I have a note here. Good. 80 of those were manufacturers, or 80 of those were manufacturers or commercial/industrial providers here in Sparks. Future Form Manufacturing being a great expansion that was announced here during that time. And what was great is that there were 112 jobs that were organically uncovered here in Sparks that are being added now. And we actually found 87 that had been added in the year since we had met with these companies. So just over 200 great jobs that were created in Sparks for Sparks citizens that are serving the community in a great way. This for me is really important though, because, well, one, I promised Councilmember Abbott that we would do more in Sparks. And so this council member is us walking the talk. I appreciate 2 years ago when you asked me I'm going to give you more information here in the entrepreneurial development space. But when you asked me specifically, what are we going to do to make sure that the Sparks is getting its fair share of our work? I'm going to tell you, this for me is an effort with no destination. We're never going to be done. But I am proud to tell you that we can give you real information about the number of Sparks businesses that we're meeting with on a day-over-day and week-over-week basis, and the jobs that we're helping to bring to this community specifically. And so, yes, sir. Thank you, Noel. Thank you for the accountability. It was needed and we deserved it. So thank you. Oh, let me hit that again. There we go. Entrepreneurial development. We worked with just over 230, about 235 startups that we worked with last year. It's like the funnel in every business. Everybody you work with doesn't make it to the finish line, or at least make it to the finish line in the period that you're working on. We saw 37 businesses created in our community that we work with directly. We helped 13 of those receive their initial funding. those 13 received over $800 million in venture capital, which is, again, is an incredibly strong number for our economy. And they created 71 startup jobs. Now, important to know, I promised that I would only ever refer to Startup Week as Startup Week again. And I am happy to announce that, as I think you all know, we've been working very closely with the team at Foothill Partners that is bringing the Audie District online. We'll be closing out Startup Week in Sparks this year at the Audie District. That is another one. I keep looking at Councilmember Abbott because that's another promise I made to him. And what's that?
What did it used to be called?
It was launched in my first 3 months as Reno Startup Week. And I gave Councilmember Abbott my word that he would never hear me say anything other than Startup Week again, because it's meant to serve the entire region. But not only do I now only refer to it as Startup Week, we're now bringing the program directly into Sparks, as I gave you my word that we would, and we're closing out the program at the Audie District this year. So, no, again, thank you. Thank you for the accountability. We deserved it. And so, I don't have to tell you all how excited we are about what's going on at the Audie District. That's 200,000 square feet of much needed space in the community. And again, we're so grateful to the investment and the hard work of the team at Foothill Partners to advance that. And strategic partnerships and workforce, we worked with 45 major employers to make sure that we understood exactly what issues they were facing here within the region at the local level. We had 33 intentional entanglements with our educational partners around making sure that we were making the day one employee that this region deserves, and more importantly, that we're creating the opportunity for our young people. I mean, most of you all know, I mean, I have 4 children that are all, one of whom is at the university now, but the other 3 will all finish high school here, we hope. And we want them to stay here. Back up 15 years, 5 out of 10 young people in Northern Nevada left our community to find the career that they defined as success. Fast forward to today, we're keeping 7 of 10. We shouldn't stop until all of them stay here. Now, we'll never get all of them to stay here, but our goal will always be to ensure that we maximize the opportunities for the young people that grow up here to find the opportunities that they're looking for within our community and with our employers. With that, I will thank you for the time. I tried to go as quickly as I could because I know that you all have a full agenda, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Well, thank you, Taylor. Appreciate the work that you and your team have been doing this area for years. Great work. Open it up. Do we have any questions from the council? Member Biden?
Thank you. Good to see you today. Always appreciate the update. Having served 6 years on ADON, I think 2014 or 2015 I was on, and a lot of changes.
That's right.
A lot of changes from back when I was on that board, and then we've had Councilman Dare and now Councilman Rodriguez on. So seeing the progress that have been made since I was serving on that board and the growth in the number of businesses, and really the thing that sticks out in my mind is we really at that time had a lot of businesses that wanted to come here. And EDON made a very conscious decision to make sure those businesses were going to bring a living wage. And we started telling, Kazmersky started telling companies that if they could not bring a living wage or better wages, the people that they were bringing here couldn't afford to live here. And so we needed companies coming that had high, and the growth of that average wage kept going up and up. And seeing that is really a positive thing for all of our residents here, for those businesses to stay here, to be able to keep employees. So I thought that priority was really important, and I know you continue to do that today. So thank you to your team, who is amazing, every aspect of it.
Thank you, Councilmember Bybee. Thank you so much. And of course, thank you so much for your service on our board. And also, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the time that you give to me directly for just one-on-one conversations to make sure that we understand what is needed in your district really and in Sparks writ large. But yes, absolutely. I can't say enough about the great work that Mike Kazmersky did. Mike, for the community that may not know, Mike was my predecessor. He's still here in the community and still very much engaged in the work of Northern Nevada. But yes, the principles that he laid down on ensuring that we are growing sustainably are still very much alive and well at EDON, and thank you for calling that out.
Member Vanderwill?
Thank you, Mr. Adams. As always, I look forward to this presentation. I have a couple of questions. First of all, on the Casio and the cryptocurrency business that came into the city of Sparks, did either one of those businesses receive state abatements?
They did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the reason I am asking is, as we're talking about staffing fire stations and things like that, I think what needs to happen is the general public needs to understand that when the state or you negotiating with GoEd about giving away or giving abatements for business to come here, that it directly affects our funding at local government, especially since we currently don't have a seat at the table to say, hey, we need funding to make sure we can staff that fire station, or we need funding to make sure that that park is taken care of. So I guess what I'm asking is, how is EDON helping local government with this? And I realize, and I apologize, I realize that we are creating jobs here, which we all totally agree, good paying, sustainable jobs are what we need. But at the same time, would these businesses move here if they did not receive these abatements?
So, Councilmember, thank you for the question. So you rightly identified that that abatements in Nevada are statutory. They are not discretionary. So it's important to know if a business applies for an abatement and they qualify for the abatement, the code allows them to receive it. And so, yes, you rightly said that this city council has, and EDON as well. So at the local level, we have no decision-making here. And in fact, my contract with GoEd requires that we route not all qualifying companies, all companies that apply to them to so that they can make a determination as to whether that is an appropriate application to fund or not. And so also it is important to know that there are only that there is a carve-out in the code in 2 cases that allow for a total abatement. So I can tell you that where the 2 companies that I mentioned did receive abatements, those were partial abatements, and that the entirety of the tax collected was not abated in that case. Now, what are we doing? What is EDON doing in this space? Probably the best answer I can give you here is that only about 20% of the companies that we work with on a year-over-year basis, and 20%, and as a result, 20% of the announcements we make are companies that receive an abatement. It is never our goal to lead with an abatement. And in fact, we don't. What we talk about is all of the great things that are right about our community and all of the things that are great about Northern Nevada, in the hopes that that will attract the companies that are right for our community. If those companies then go on and work with others in our community to make an application for an abatement, then we would then route it to the state for consideration. But probably the best thing I can tell you here is that that's never something we lead with, but we do have an obligation as it's a statutory provision here to provide that.
Terrific. I appreciate that answer because, of course, when everybody's coming at us over traffic, over opening fire stations, I think they need to understand that as we are recruiting new businesses in here, that there is a statutory tool in there for businesses to come here, and that local government does not have a seat at the table for those discussions.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and then also, if I can have a follow-up, please. You did state that average income of jobs coming in here is about $80,000 a year. Okay.
For the companies we're working with, yes, ma'am.
For the companies, yes, that you're working with. I did attend the EDON, luncheon, which, thank you, I always gained so much information from that. But what they did state was that for a family of 4, in order to live in the state of Nevada, they need to make $238,000, a little over that per year. So when we're bringing in average jobs at about $80,000 for a single person, they need to make between 110 and 115 to live here. So how are we making some of those things up? Because I know you're very well aware of what the cost of housing is here.
And so what I would offer is, so when you're talking about a family of 4, again, we recognize that we're speaking to averages. And so when you're talking about the average cost of housing here, there are homes that are less expensive, there are homes that are more expensive. I think it's important to know the continuum of employment and staffing and salaries in the region are also the same. And so we like to think of, in our office, we like to think of a number between 130 and 150,000 as what allows a family to gain initial access to our economy. And we also recognize that where you start in our economy is rarely where you finish. And so for us, our goal is to create a job that gives a family of, basically a family of 2 or 3 or 4 an opportunity to engage in our economy. And so we feel like if we can get you started at 80,000, if you add another income to that household, then you're on your way. Now, is that perfect? No, but it is important to know it's what we have in the moment. And as I mentioned, it's what I always like to say. When I say there's an average of 80,000, there were jobs in there that were 60. There were jobs in there that were well over 200,000. And so our goal is to just maintain a 20% plus up on the median wage for the region. We feel like if we're consistently delivering a job that's 20% greater than the median wage for the community, then we can pass the red face test when we say that we're creating wealth in Northern Nevada. Recognizing this is where if my good friend Dan, Dan and I should start doing these things together. But if Dan Morgan from the Builders Association was with me, he would give the other half of this conversation. But the truth is, we agree that he and I both have an obligation to work together to solve exactly the problems you're talking about.
Great, and I apologize. I got one more. I had a list for you, and I apologize. Mr. Adams, I probably should have sent it prior to. Again, in the same presentation that was at the luncheon, almost 40% of our in-migration into the state of Nevada is 65 years or older.
Mm-hmm.
How is EDON handling that? Because first of all, I don't know that we have the businesses in the state of Nevada to be able to support or take care of that aging population that's coming in.
Yeah, so first, it's important to know, now we are not marketing to senior citizens that are looking for retirement homes.
No, but they're all coming here, so.
And they are, but I only offer that to say, I think maybe the best thing that we can do to pull that percentage down, because obviously it's difficult for me to control who is selecting to live here. But what I can do is, as we continue to create great opportunities for young families to have the career that they want in our community, we can pull that percentage down. And so our goal will just be to work harder and to create more jobs that allow our workforce to continue growing.
I appreciate you indulging me, and thank you for the answers.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Member Abbott.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Ms. Adams, and thanks for taking some of my 2 cents a couple years ago and changing, making a little bit more equal in the Sparks representation. Definitely have seen it. I've seen the name changes. So thank you and to your team for hearing me on that. Definitely. I know for businesses, they appreciate it. For us, I think we appreciate it. As, citizens and Sparks, I think also appreciate it. And that lines up with one of the questions on some of the businesses you mentioned. You mentioned they are in Sparks. Are they, I'm not trying to split hairs, are they in City of Sparks proper, or right in Spanish Springs, which is right on the edge, or are they?
These are Sparks proper.
Okay.
So I asked my team, when my team was laying out my notes for me today, I said, make sure we understand where unincorporated Washoe starts and where Sparks finishes. And so the announcements that we gave you are Sparks companies.
Great to know. Great to hear. Because obviously it's important for everywhere to have those, those strong businesses, but just wanted to make sure it's accurate in Sparks proper. So,
Yes, sir.
Cool. Because, I've heard people say USA Parkway is Sparks, and used to have a zip code. And I'm like, well, it's not really Sparks to me, but.
Right. It is interesting. If you were to Google the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the map shows you that it says Sparks, Nevada on it.
Yeah.
But we do recognize that's in Story County. And so so that said, no, sir, these are Sparks announcements.
Perfect. Well, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Member Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just want to say, thank you for the presentation. It is one of my favorite boards to sit on because it kind of get front row seats to see the development and the jobs that are being created in this area. I did kind of circle back around because I think it's a very impressive number. Can you get those numbers again of local students that are staying in the area, jobs that are being created? Because I remember graduating, Sparks was, we're trying to find our identity still. Like, are we a gaming community, touristing community? So can you get those numbers again?
Yes, sir. So, referencing Councilmember Vanderwall's question, this came out of the State of the Economy speech from the year before last, when the team at Applied Analytics down in Vegas came up and gave us the research that if you back up 15 years, 5 out of every 10 young people that completed their education here in Northern Nevada left our community to find the career that they were seeking. Fast forward to today, 7 out of 10 are staying, and we're getting close to 8. I'm waiting for the update on this data, but I am holding on to hope that when we get an update to that data next year, we'll see 80% of our young people are staying.
I think that's very important, because I know a majority of us here have kids or grandkids, and it's kind of one of the things that we want to see, that we're able to provide a better future in this area, and to Councilwoman Vanderwall's point, being able to hopefully attain a home. So I know that's kind of mirroring in partnership and work with Mr. Gordon, as you said. So, but thank you.
Yes, sir.
And, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate the time you spent with us.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And if I'll finish with one other thing. I know that there's nothing more important than ongoing conversations about public lands that adjoin Sparks in our metro. Just so that you all know, on Wednesday I'll be flying to the District of Columbia to continue that conversation amongst others. And so, looking forward to continuing that work on behalf of us all. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to a proclamation for National Apprenticeship Week. Speaking of living wages that work for our families here locally. Good paying jobs, that's right. And if you'll let council member,
You can call me Bybee as
I'm
long
sorry.
as it.
I don't know why.
you do
I don't
every
know why
time
I
you
do
sit
it.
there,
Yeah.
so.
Councilmember Vanderwell is going to read a proclamation, and then we'll give you an opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson. So, whereas 2026 marks the continued legacy of the National Apprenticeship Act and the 12th anniversary of National Apprenticeship Week, which raises awareness of the vital role apprenticeships play in strengthening our workforce. And whereas apprenticeships provide valuable opportunities to earn while learning, preparing individuals for quality, well-paying careers in the city of Sparks and across the nation. And whereas this observance highlights the collaborative efforts of employers, educators, labor organizations, and workforce partners in advancing registered apprenticeship programs. And whereas expanding access to apprenticeship opportunities supports youth and adults of all backgrounds, including those historically underserved, and promotes a more inclusive and resilient workforce. And whereas registered apprenticeship programs are a proven industry-driven model that helps meet the evolving needs of Northern Nevada's economy and address critical workforce challenges. Now, therefore, I, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim April 26th through May 2nd as National Apprenticeship Week. So. And I'd like to, before I have you speak, I would like to put this on the record as the CEO of NVIDIA has stated that the next round of our millionaires are going to be skilled workforce employees. So if you'll please share, thank you.
And if you would just state your name for the record, please.
Absolutely. For the record, my name is Wendy Colborn. I'm Chief of Staff of the Northern Nevada Building Trades Council. We represent all of the building trades unions up here in Northern Nevada, outside of the Carpenters, which are an independent union. And we are so proud and honored by this proclamation, as we are year over year working with you here in the city of Sparks. Many of our apprenticeship training centers are based here in the city of Sparks, and it's really the core of where a lot of our training happens. We actually have an open house coming up, so you can get inside many of those training centers and take a look if you'd like. It's going to be on May 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and everyone is welcome. We work closely with the Washoe County School District, and the goal is to get graduating seniors out to the training centers, but everyone is welcome. It's the one time a year all of our training centers open up their doors, including Carpenters, actually. We work with them on this too. And you can go in and take a look around and see what the careers have to offer. But I have brought some guests with me today who I would would like to speak a little bit. I've got Charlie Zemp here, who is the president of our Apprenticeship Coordinators Association, and also Hannah with Plumbers and Pipefitters Local 350. And Hannah, I'm going to pass the microphone to you.
Hi, I'm Hannah Clark. I'm the administrator for Local 350 Plumbers, Pipefitters, and HVAC. Wendy asked me here today to speak a little bit about just the growth we've been experiencing. Our training center is located in Sparks on Gregg Street. When I first started 3 years ago, we had 120-something apprentices, and we had been staying at that amount pretty consistently over the last decade or so. Last year, we jumped up to having around 285 apprentices, and by the end of next month, we'll be up to about 500 apprentices at our training center. So we've been experienced unprecedented growth, obviously due to the data centers, and then the Thacker Pass project in Winnemucca, and then as well as the GSR project coming up. So a lot of growth happening for us.
Thank you. My name's Charles Zemp. I'm with NACA, Northern Nevada Apprentice Coordinator Association, and I want to thank the council, everyone, for reading this proclamation for us today. I'm proud to be part of this group, welcoming kids in from the high schools through CTE programs, through the Northern Nevada Literacy Program, working with the students, and at our halls. They come through the training centers and get walkthroughs and whatnot, and we're openly recruiting them. We just had a couple kids from Ace High School that we were working with take first and second place in the bricklaying competition at the Skills USA contest at the Sparks, the Reno Event Center. Reno Convention Center, yeah. Okay, the Sparks Center. But anyways, still, thank you for this apprenticeship week. We're all very honored to be here and have this proclamation read. Thank you again.
Wonderful. And I have a question, speaking of plumbers. I heard last week that one of the data centers under construction has thousands of plumbers working. Is that correct?
I would say overall, we have, thank you. Wendy Colborn, Northern Nevada Building Trades, for the record. Overall, we do have thousands of members out. I don't know if it's thousands of plumbers specifically, but I do know combined, the trades have thousands of workers out there. The largest number is electricians, second largest number is plumbers and pipe fitters.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much. And if you'll step over here, we'll take a photo for you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll move on to item 7.3, 7.4, boards and commission vacancy announcements.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. The first one is for the Sparks Parks and Recreation Commission. There are 3 vacancies on the Sparks Parks and Recreation Commission, each for a 3-year term. Members must be a resident of Sparks or have a valid Sparks business license. Applications will be accepted until May 15th, 2026 at 5 p.m. Next, there are 2 vacancies on the Sparks Civil Service Commission, each for a 3-year term. Members must be Sparks residents. Members cannot be city employees, a member of the city council, or appointed to another board or commission of the city or related to one within the 3rd degree of consanguinity. Applications will be accepted until May 15th, 2026 at 5 p.m. Persons interested in serving on these committees should complete a community services application online at the city's website, www.cityofsparks.us/get-involved. Simply complete the volunteer application form and click submit. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. And we'll move on to consent items. We have items 8.1 through 8.5. We did already move 8.4 down to general business, but do we have approval of or a motion for the consent items? Member Vanderwell.
I move to approve consent items 8.1 through 8.3 and 8.5 as submitted.
And Member Abbott.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor, please vote. All right, passes unanimously. And with that, we'll move on to 8.4, consideration, discussion, possible acceptance of the Edward Byron Memorial Justice Assistance Grant, or JAG, AC 6191, subaward administered to the Nevada Department of Public Safety, Office of Criminal Justice Assistance, in the amount of $16,172.36 to support a regional facial recognition case management project. Chief, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson and members of council. For the record, I'm Chris Crawforth, your police chief. Before you today is the possible acceptance of the grant award from the Nevada Department of Public Safety, Office of Criminal Justice Assistance Grant, or JAG, in a total amount of $19,500 for facial recognition technology. For clarification, the title of the item was incorrectly listed for an amount of $16,172.36. This occurred as the total amount was awarded by the state in two different JAG grants due to funding mechanisms. The first document in the agenda packet from the state shows an award in the amount of $16,172.36 under OCJA Project 22-JAG-55. The second document from the state shows an award in the amount of $3,327.64 under OCJA Project 22-JAG-60I for a total amount of $19,500. My apologies for the incorrect title. This grant will help to improve public safety measures by integrating advanced technologies that will reduce personnel time needed to identify suspects of crimes. Let me be clear on the use of this technology, as I'm aware of the public's concern over privacy. Acceptance of this grant would allow crime analysts, not law enforcement officers, to compare videos or still photographs obtained from crime scenes and compare those against databases to possibly create investigative leads for a case, not probable cause to arrest a person. This is an investigative tool that will be managed by only 5 personnel and treated like any other piece of the investigative puzzle. If approved, we would purchase facial recognition and morphological comparison technology. Let me explain those. Facial recognition technology is defined as a software application, electronic system, or a third-party service that uses artificial intelligence and biometric algorithms to compare facial features of a probe or search image with features of images contained within an image database. Morphological comparison is used when investigators need to analyze physical features, often from photos or video, to assess whether two images could depict the same person or object. Unlike automated systems, it relies on trained human examiners applying structured observation and measurement. The request for funding is to pay for both facial recognition and morphological comparison to include a training certification component. Training includes FBI standards on use of facial recognition systems, facial identification discipline standards, guidelines, and best practices, facial recognition limitations and expectations. And let me once again state, we are aware of the pitfalls and risks of improper use of such a technology. Subjectivity and bias, overstating certainty, poor image quality limitations, misidentification, and wrongful implications. How we are safeguarding the use of this technology. This is a law enforcement agency specific product. The data used is for law enforcement personnel only. As mentioned above, training certification and facial recognition is required to access the database. This differs significantly from other facial recognition systems that may be in use in our areas. It is not uncommon for private sector commercial organizations to use facial recognition to meet their needs. For example, casinos, retail businesses, and banks. Controlled and limited access to the database for facial recognition use. Most importantly, facial recognition technology is an investigative tool that is to be used as supporting evidence and not standalone proof. In addition, at the bottom of any correspondence related to the use of facial recognition by the analysts, we include a disclaimer which states the following. This facial image comparison is not a positive identification. This is an investigative lead only. Any possible connection or involvement of any subject must be determined through further investigation. Further dissemination of this investigative lead needs to follow applicable policies and laws. Please do not stop, detain, or arrest the subject based on this lead alone. We take the public's privacy very seriously and balance that with the need to bring persons committing crimes in our community to justice with the best balance of the resources we have available to us. The project strategically aligns with Sparks' overall public safety goals, emphasizing community-oriented policing and encouraging cooperative partnerships with both government agencies and community stakeholders. Collaborations with city IT and other departments ensure that new technologies are seamlessly integrated into existing infrastructure, thereby increasing operational efficiency and effectiveness. As a reminder, a motion to approve would be in the amount of $19,500.00, and we recommend approval, and I'm here for any questions.
All right, thank you for the clarification on that. Do we have any questions? Member Vanderwell?
I don't have any questions. I have a statement. I want to thank you, Chief, for the clarification, since there seems to be unfounded and false narratives out in our community regarding the Sparks Police Department. So I want to thank you for this presentation.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez.
Speaking of technology, there we go. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And thanks again, Chief. I love how your department have always been supportive of technology, spearheading and working with the resources, as you said, working with the resources that you have. So I just want to clarify. So this technology is not going to be used for probable cause alone to create an arrest, kind of what we saw similarly in the Peppermill incident or anything like that, correct?
Correct. We will use it. It's just part of, as I said, an investigative tool, and usually we put all that together to create a case. So it's just one piece of the puzzle.
Copy that. All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? All right, with that, willing to take a motion? Member Vanderwell?
I move to accept the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant, AC-6191, subaward administered by the Nevada Department of Public Safety, Office of Criminal Justice Assistance in the amount of $19,500 to support the Regional Facial Recognition Case Management Project.
Member Rodriguez?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you, Chief. We'll move on to item 9.1, consideration, discussion, possible action regarding the annual performance review of the city manager, Dion Louth. Good afternoon.
It's ready.
For discussion today is the performance evaluation of our city manager, Dion Louthen. The evaluation process consisted of the mayor and individual council members completing a written evaluation of the city manager's performance from May of 2025 to present. Following the written evaluation, the mayor and council members met individually with me to provide additional details and feedback related to Mr. Louthen's performance. The evaluation focused on 8 categories. They are management of the organization, execution of policy, financial management, relations with council, community relations, communication, leadership, and professionalism. The mayor and council members individually scored the city manager in each category on a ranking from 0 to 6, with 0 being unsatisfactory and 6 being outstanding. Scores were then tabulated and averaged in each category and overall, and the scores are on the screen. In addition to the ranked scores, there were some commonly recurring comments about Mr. Louthen's performance over the evaluation period, including the culture and atmosphere have improved overall, Employees feel valued and seen by Dion. Their input and expertise are sought, and credit is given where due. Dion communicates effectively, is approachable, and makes himself available for council and employees. Dion has a good reputation and is the calm during a storm and created a team approach. Some goals and objectives for the next year are increase public-facing communication with residents regarding C-tax, how property tax is calculated, how it differs from other states, and budget decisions. Some ideas to obtain this include social media outreach with a city manager minute and gatherings in public places in each ward. Improve lobbying efforts by increasing collaboration with other local agencies to identify, prioritize, and advocate for solutions to shared issues. Succession planning for key positions as employees retire. Continue to evaluate revenue opportunities while streamlining processes and improving efficiencies. Creating an efficient, welcoming process for new businesses in the community. Similar to all employees, Mr. Louthan's employment contract allows for a salary merit increase up to 5%, which would be effective the first full pay period following July 1st, 2026, upon recommendation of the mayor and approval of City Council. Mr. Louthan's overall score of 4.79 places him between the scores of very good and excellent. In addition, Mr. Louthan's contract states he shall receive a bonus of $5,000 for satisfactory or above performance. In addition, at their sole discretion, council may choose to award an additional bonus up to $5,000. Also note that bonus pay is not subject to Nevada PERS contributions or calculations. Due to layoffs and the fiscal situation occurring during his evaluation last year, council approved a 3% merit increase. And although the contract states he shall be given a $5,000 bonus with a satisfactory or better rating, Mr. Louthan chose to waive the bonus last year. Finally, I'd like to thank the mayor and council for meeting with me and their thorough and thoughtful evaluation of our city manager's performance, and I'm open to any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate your work on this as well. All right, we'll open it up to the council for questions, comments. And if you notice, there are 3 suggestions listed in the materials here as far as some potential motions that could be made. On page 3 of the summary sheet. Okay. Member Vanderwell?
Thank you. Shauna, can you let me know what was the percentage of the average COLA in the city of Sparks this year?
It varied by department, by bargaining unit. Some were 0, really probably averaged around 1, but the COLAs are different than the merit increase.
Right.
Mr. Louthan's contract does allow for the 1.25%, I believe, COLA that the management group would get effective July 1. He would be eligible for that as well.
Okay. So what was the average then amongst our management team?
Of the COLAs?
Not the COLAs, of any increases?
Oh, I don't have
Have we
that
gotten
data.
to those?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I
Thank
didn't
you.
run that number.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And while folks are thinking about how they want to create a motion on this, I just would like to take a moment to tell folks that I've been completely pleased with our city manager's performance over the last year. I really believe his leadership did a great job of stabilizing and strengthening the organization as a whole over this last year. We were in a fiscal situation that was very uncomfortable, at one point having a $18 million budget deficit that we were facing, and trying to figure out how we could strategically get ourselves out of that situation. as well as, quite frankly, morale within the organization were at a low as well. And just over this last cycle, I would say that our city manager has done very well from my point of view. Member Abbott.
Having IT problems too over here. I think you answered part of my question with Councilwoman Vanderwell, but on looking at the alternatives, on number one, if we were to go that way, obviously we have the $5,000 bonus and we have the 1.25% increase would be the bottom, I guess, right?
Right, well, the 1.25 just occurs.
Automatically, yep.
Automatically. The $5,000 bonus that says he shall receive it is automatic.
Yes.
There is the potential of up to another 5,000 at council's discretion and up to 5%.
And
When, sort of to further elaborate on your question, the majority of the people who are eligible for an increase, a merit increase, do tend to get the 5% unless they've hit the top of the range.
So if we were to look at alternative two, it would be the additional 5,000 being a $10,000 bonus. And then if we were to do 5%, then that would end up being a 6.25% increase. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So it actually might be a little bit more because you would do the 5% first and then the 1.25 on top
I
of
remember
that.
you telling me that math.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And Member Bybee, I'll give you a moment since your computer's down. Are you ready?
I might have comments to make. I would like to say it was my pleasure to be able to do this performance evaluation, which I know we have to, but I just felt that there was so much positive. When Dion came here 2 years ago, where we were and where we are today is a whole different place. And it really is a testament to his leadership, the culture that he has helped move in a really good direction. What I appreciate most is he is always available. I never feel like I'm imposing when I've got a question Friday night at 7 o'clock or meeting with him briefly to discuss things. He's always available, and I feel that he is that way with everyone, not just because I'm on the council. So that big piece that I think is so important in leadership is communication, and his communication skills with all of us make him a pleasure to work with, but really help us work better together, because we're not communicating them, we're not sharing information, finding solutions. And I think his other strength is coming from the two cities that he was at previously. He brings in a lot of innovative ideas and solutions and things that we haven't thought about on how to adjust, how to address the issues that we're facing right now, which are real. So we look at the budget challenges. We look at that $18 million, like Councilman Anderson referred to, that budget deficit last year and the really, really hard decisions we had to make. We got through it. It was painful, but he guided us through that. And I really feel that moving forward, there is some light out there, a ways out on the fiscal side and solutions to our budget challenges and being realistic about being as lean and mean and efficient as we can, which I think we always, 12 years I've been here, I feel, and that's my top priority, is that fiscal side of things and always being cognizant of how we spend every dollar of taxpayer money. And Dion comes in with other experiences and looking at how we're doing things. How can we make it better? How can we make it more efficient? The Councilman Rodriguez's, previous comment about, police and using technology, using things that are going to make us more efficient and streamline operations. And Dion brings all of that to the table and a willingness to look at things that I think moves the city in a really positive direction. So I have been most pleased to work with him, to see what he's helped us do, navigating tough times. Leadership is easy when times are good. And when times aren't good, it's a challenge. So moving through challenging times and actually making it feel better while you're doing that, how you feel at the end of the day when things are rough, kind of still staying positive, still, we can do this. And I appreciate that because that's how I am. And so I appreciate him kind of helping us get through what we've been through. And I think that the future moving forward is only going to be even better because of his leadership that he has brought to the team. And that I feel the whole city is a closer team and does have the culture that we're so proud of this city here. And he's been an amazing asset to us during that time. So thank you.
Member Rodriguez.
Yeah, I just kind of want to say ditto. No, I am very appreciative of the city manager, and I know last year, this time last year, there was some very hard decisions to be made, and I know that weighed on our city manager, and again, just kind of just more testimony that I know I've dragged him to meet with those stakeholders, and he's done it so very willingly, and I've heard throughout the community. Like, oh yeah, I met with Dion, and so I know you're out there, so I appreciate that. And I guess, I don't know, I'm ready to make a motion
We have a few more questions or comments from the members.
I guess with that being said, I will just let the council know that with the city manager last year willingly waive his what would be entitlement to his contract, I would support the 5,000 from last year and this year. So I'm just sharing that with my colleagues, that having a good manager is, especially what we went through last year and how we came out of that the way we did, is impressive. So I just let my colleagues know I support that.
And did you want to make a comment, or you okay? We're moving on to the next one? All right, just want to make sure. All right, Member Vanderwell.
Thank you. And I can probably ditto everything. But I have to share, I was in a meeting last week and I was specifically asked, what would I do if the city manager came and did not want to be here anymore? So believe me, it was sheer panic. So I do want to say, I want to thank Dion, because as Councilman Rodriguez stated, anyone in our community that's had any interactions with our city manager, they have all been positive. Yeah, any interactions I've had with him have always been positive. And like Councilwoman Bybee said, it doesn't matter when you call him, he picks up the phone, and if he's not available, he immediately calls you back. So the fact that there is constant communication is important to me as an elected official, because it helps me then help my constituents. And I want to say thank you for that. And I want to say thank you for being out in the community and being such a positive for the city of Sparks.
Member Abbott.
I'll double down and ditto all that too. And then I'll add a little, Annie a little, right? Just definitely thank you for always being there, I think, for all of our calls, but also the amount of emails we get. Some days might be a little overwhelming in a good way, but it's neat and very informational for us to be aware of it. So definitely thank you there. Looking back at when we were going over the evaluation, I went back and probably, I know not a lot of people read the references, but when you first applied, being my digital life I have my references, and some of the notes I had for that day, I think are very applicable to our modern day, Mr. Louthan today as our Spark City manager. One of the notes I wrote down is hungry and humble. I think you are a very humble human being, but I also think you are hungry. And I don't think that's, that takes some special human being to check those boxes. You wrote down your 100 days community engagement. I remember that's what you did when you first started. You went out there, and I know we're a little, 2 years in now, but I remember you going to Butcher Boy or Blue Ribbon. Sorry, I was in voice my meat places, but you went to Blue Ribbon. I'll tell you, if someone's growing up in Sparks, I have friends that have never been to Blue Ribbon to this day, and you had been here for 6 months and went to Blue Ribbon. You go to the local places, and you're just supporting the local. Another thing you mentioned was being resiliency is the one thing you need as a city manager, and I think you have definitely not just said those words, you have proven those words. And then one last thing. One of the questions that we had was how should the community in Sparks measure your success as the new city manager? And your answer was staff feedback. And I think not speaking just the staff that I've seen over to my right, but all over our whole city, I hear great things that you have built these relationships with individuals in a meaningful way, and not just because you need to, but because you do care about these individuals, as well as our businesses, our citizens, everyone that's here in our audience. Like, Mr. Lauthan will 100% take a meeting with you. I see him every time I go to Lighthouse Coffee, I see him with a new face, and he's always out there. So I'll get off that those comments and just thank you for your service. We do not want to lose you. I agree, 100%. That'd be panic. I feel also, I just want to give a shout out to our previous interim city manager that helped us right that ship a couple years ago. It took some teamwork to make the dream work on this one. So that's all I got.
And actually, I'll add one more thing, kind of into the ditto side of it is I just want to say thank you for the way that you engage our partnership agencies around this region. I was at a meeting last week, and it was actually brought up in a public meeting about your willingness to discuss business with them and likewise help them improve the way they're doing things. So not only are you making an impact here in the city of Sparks, but throughout the region. I want to say thank you for that willingness to collaborate. Okay, with that being said, it sounded like we have someone that's willing to make a motion. There are some recommended motions. Looks like everyone has them up. And would that be you, sir?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
So would you please put up the possible motion? Thank you.
I was just going to choose item number 2, like a menu.
Hold on just a moment then. So what you're saying is you want option number 2, city council may accept the city manager's performance evaluation, which includes $5,000 bonus with satisfactory performance, includes specific criteria for prospective performance expectations, and choose to grant the city manager a salary increase of 5% and/or an additional bonus of $5,000.
Yes.
So Mayor Pro Tem, then the recommended motion that is on the screen would be performance expectations and to approve a 5% salary increase and a $5,000 additional performance bonus as shown.
That would be my motion.
Okay, so you can go ahead and make that motion, please.
So moved.
Hey, hang on a second. You wanted to see the other option? Is it?
There's a motion on that.
Okay, yeah. So we have a motion from Member Rodriguez. Do we have a second? If we don't have a second, then we'll go back to the motion. The motion would fail, and we would then take it back to make another motion. Please, go ahead. Member Adam.
What was, I know we talked about our minimums, and what was our maximum that we did for our bargaining units for an increase?
For a merit increase or?
Sorry, I had him in my ear. I don't know what either one of y'all said.
I think there's just a legal distinction between the merit increases that come with the 5% merit increases and then the COLAs that are part of the bargaining process. So in the city, from a legal perspective, there's up to a 5% that can be received based on where you are in the salary range and where they are currently in their salary. Some people can get 5% and it takes them to the maximum of their salary. Some of them get 5% and they're still under the maximum. So then the next year they could warrant a 5% increase again, but also are entitled legally to a COLA as well.
Okay.
So that's kind of the interplay.
Got you. Then with that, I can take a stab at a motion if we're offering.
First, I'd like to ask a question as well. So the financial impact of whatever percentage we land at, would you be able to give that to us if someone's wanting to know at 5% versus 4%, 3%?
Yes, I do not have it with me today,
Okay.
but I could. Now, the $5,000 bonus, additional $5,000 bonus, not PERSable. Any percent increase would be PERSable up to the maximum allowed by Nevada PERS.
And so Member Abbott, you would like to make oh,
Can
I'm
I
sorry,
go quick?
Member Bybee.
Real quick. So Shauna, last year, I just want to kind of look at where we were last year, and we knew what our financial situation was last year. We're in a better spot. We're still not where we want to be. So last year, we approved a 3% salary increase, and we offered the 5% merit, which Mr. Louthan declined to take, correct?
No. The 3% was the merit. What he declined was the $5,000 performance bonus that is with satisfactory evaluation. And then there's an additional $5,000 that is at the discretion of the council. So even though his contract says he shall get $5,000 with performance, satisfactory performance, he declined that.
Okay.
And because of the budget crisis, instead of a 5%, 3% was given to him at that time as a performance-based merit
And
increase.
so the 3% was merit. The bonuses, there's a possibility of two bonuses.
Well, one is automatic.
The one automatic,
Yeah.
5,000.
Correct.
And a possible second 5,000.
Up to
Up to
5,000.
5,000 on the second. Okay.
Correct.
Just wanted to be clear. And obviously, I was a little confused. Thank you.
Donna, one more question.
Yeah.
Last year, our bargaining units, where did they land as far as their increases? What percentage was that typically?
Merit increases?
Yes.
Well, merit increases are
Oh, that's right,
five,
with the
yeah,
individual.
they're
Never mind.
5% up to a range. What you would call COLA, but the adjustments that were made depended on the bargaining unit. Some had 0, some had 1. It will be 1.25 for management as of July 1st. It just depends on which bargaining unit. And some of them would negotiate 0 increase there because they got some other benefits someplace else in the contract.
Thank you. Are you comfortable? All right,
I'll take a stab. Worst case, it goes nowhere.
all right. Member Abbott.
So let's throw out some numbers. Let's do on the percentage, what if we did a 2.5% and 10-4. I was just throwing that in there so they could put it in. 2.5% and 2,500, and I'll read the motion. I move to accept the city manager's performance evaluation, including specific goals and performance expectations, and to approve a 2.5% salary increase and 2,500 additional performance bonus.
And do we have anyone wanting to make a motion or a second to that? Okay, I'm beginning to think that we're, okay, Member Rodriguez, a question, go ahead.
This might be a question more for our CFO, but would a 5% salary increase, I guess originally with my motion, make or break anything in the city of Sparks? Or, I mean, would that stop
can answer what-
stop a grazing goat out there or prevent right, like, well, we're paying up front. We're waiting for that grant money.
Hi, Jeff Cron, CFO for the record.
Thank you. Jeff Kronk, CFO for the record. I believe your question was, will it break the bank? No. That's why we have reserves, and that's why we have a lot of built-in flexibility in our budget to handle. This honestly happens during negotiations as well, as we currently have still some bargaining groups that are much larger, that are open. We have built-in flexibility into our budget to handle how those might play out, and this would just like one smaller example of that.
Thank you. And please be comfortable. So, and just to clarify for the record.
Duly noted.
So just the collective bargaining units, those are separate as opposed to like the merit. So like, if I was a public works employee, I expect to get every year, get a percentage increase. That is separate from what collective bargaining negotiations would be as far as raises or anything like that. Or to your point, maybe not a raise there, but maybe get extra leave time or something, correct?
Yeah, I mean, each bargaining unit selects those things that are most important to that bargaining unit.
Right.
So if a annual increase to keep up with the cost of living is important to them, they may forego some of the other things. But there are some bargaining units that purposely take a lower amount, knowing that there are other things that they want in the contract. And so they're, you know, the amount varies. The management group does not have the ability to bargain. And so those are done by resolution. But yeah, and there is a range, but what we do also evaluate is that range appropriate for that one position using a market analysis? So we're looking at how that entire range is, and then within the range, based on merit, they are eligible to move up within that range to a maximum of 5% a year. And if there is any adjustments across the board, then everybody gets that as well.
Thank you.
Okay, and the way I'm seeing it, if no one's willing to make a second on Mr. Abbott's motion, that one too fails.
I'm ready to make a
All
motion.
right, Member Bybee.
Okay, let's see if three's a charm. I move to accept the city manager's performance evaluation, including specific goals and performance expectations, and to approve a 4% salary increase and the $5,000, Shauna, help me, automatic, the required 5,000, not the additional. Well, how do I phrase that? The required 5,000?
I don't think it was even in the motion.
So
because that's-
just contractually.
Okay, so that will become automatic, so I'm proposing the 4% salary increase.
A 4%, and then what about the additional performance bonus up to 5,000? Is that in there as well, as written?
That would be the additional.
So legally, because he got a satisfactory performance, he's getting a $5,000 bonus.
Correct.
If you are, so he gets that. The motion that's on the board is for an additional on top of the 5,000. So if, like, there was a 2,500, so he'd get a 7,500 bonus, for example. If your motion is a 4% merit with zero additional, he'll still get the 5,000.
Okay, so I could do the 4% salary increase. He will get the automatic other 5,000. And on the second additional performance bonus, I could do up to 5,000.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, so let me go for the additional 5,000, see what happens. So I will keep it right. You guys are fast over there. So 4% salary increase and the additional $5,000 additional performance bonus.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. And we have Member Rodriguez.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Member Bybee and a second from Member Rodriguez. All, please vote. All right, and the motion passes unanimously. Third time's a charm. Thank you.
It was.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may, I just want to thank the council for all the great guidance and leadership and communication that we have, and our staff who does phenomenal work. They are the reason we're successful, and I appreciate all they do, and the community who cares about Sparks. All of that's what makes us special, and I thank everyone, and we'll continue to work hard and try to produce the best results we can. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, move on to item 9.2, consideration, discussion, possible approval of a consulting agreement AC 6192 for design services with Keller Associates and the City of Reno for Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility, Headworks, wet well, and influent improvements project in the amount of $591,755, with Spark share being $185,633.54. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Council, Mayor Pro Tem. My name is Amy Egan, Assistant Plant Manager for the record. I'm here today seeking approval of a consulting agreement for design services with Keller Associates for our Headworks, wet well, and influent improvement project. Headworks was built as a part of the original facility in 1964 and was upgraded in 2014. The Headworks facility is responsible for bringing wastewater into the plant for treatment. This facility is a large building that consists of isolation gates, wet wells, and pumps, and is built very deep to allow sewer lines to allow flow into the building for pumping. Due to the corrosive environment of the wastewater in this area, metals, concrete, and equipment will deteriorate over time. Tumwharf maintenance staff have made entries into the wet well and determined that significant corrosion is present. Recently, the plant experienced a mechanical failure of an isolation gate the second in 3 years. The backup stainless steel cables used to open the gate also failed at this time. Known deficiencies of Headworks include dysfunctional isolation gates, corrosion of the wet well effluent gates, corrosion of the splitter gates between the Reno and Sparks wet wells, failed backup steel cables, and failed sensors. Continued issues are likely to occur without proper rehabilitation. Failure at this facility would result in permit violations and unsafe conditions. A recent risk ranking of infrastructure projects placed this project as number 1. This agreement covers design engineering services, design milestone reviews, cost estimates, and services during bidding. This was budgeted for this fiscal year 26 CIP. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Amy. Any questions? All right, with that, take a motion. Member Abbott.
I move to approve the consulting agreement AC-6192 for design services with Keller Associates in the City of Reno for the Truckee Meadows Water Reclamation Facility, Headworks, wet well, and effluent improvements project in the amount of $591,755, with Sparks' share being $185,633.54.
And Member Vanderwell.
Second.
Right, we have a motion, a second, please vote. Passes unanimously. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
And we'll move on to public hearing and action items unrelated to planning and zoning. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is second reading of Bill Number 2850, an ordinance to amend Sparks Municipal Code, Section 15.05.107.7.1 regarding refunding of fees paid by applicants for building permit applications.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. For the record, I'm Aaron Viviano, your building official. I'm here today to request approval of an amendment to the municipal code as it relates to refunds. Recently, we had a permit applicant that was entitled to a refund that was in excess of $5,000. Our current limit for refunds is $1,000, unless we generate staff reports and come before council. Per the request of the mayor, staff has provided an amendment allowing refunds that can be approved by the community services director in the amount of up to $25,000, and with approval of the city manager, a refund limit up to $100,000, which is in line with the manager's authority. It's staff's recommendation that the municipal code be amended to allow for the increase of the refund limit. Any questions?
No questions? All right, this is a public hearing, so we're going to go ahead and open it up for public. Anyone wishing to make comments? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public comment section, and we're ready to go to vote. Would anyone like to make a motion? Member Vanderwell?
I move to adopt Bill number 2850 to amend Sparks Municipal Code Section 15.05.107.7.1, increasing the amount staff can refund to applicants through the Community Services Director to $25,000 and increasing the amount staff can refund to applicants through the City Manager to $100,000.
Thank you. Member Abbott?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. We'll move on to item 10.2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is the second reading of Bill number 2852, an ordinance amending Chapter 14 of the Sparks Municipal Code, Fire Prevention and Protection to adopt the 2024 International Fire Code and related appendices, 2024 International Wildland Urban Interface Code, and other related fire protection codes and amendments, and providing other matters properly related thereto.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson and member of the council. For the record, Patrick Chu, the fire marshal for the Sparks Fire Department. Purpose here to be here today is to adopt the latest International Fire Code and an International Wildland Urban Interface Code with their amendment. If adopted, will be effective after this meeting, April 27th. Some of you may be wondering, didn't we already adopt these codes recently? The reason for being back here today is legal found a discrepancy between the first and second reading the first time this was brought up. So just to reiterate, some of the changes in the fire code are minor in nature. For example, stair width. If you have buildings with no elevators, we want to maintain a stair width where we can bring a patient down on gurneys. In terms of the wildland urban interface changes, we are relying on modern construction, such as non-combustible roofing materials, non-combustible rain gutters, double pane windows, just to name an example, to maintain a moderate hazard zone in most of the city. Nothing in these codes are retroactive. Everything that's existing will remain the same. With that, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Hey, thank you, Pat. Any questions? All right, I'll entertain the motion. Oh, never mind. I almost did the exact same thing. This is a public hearing. We're opening it up for public comment. Anyone in the public wishing to make a comment? All right, we'll close it. And now we can go to a motion. Member Rodriguez.
I move to adopt Bill number 2852, an ordinance amending Chapter 14 of the Sparks Municipal Code, Fire Prevention and Protection to adopt the 2024 International Fire Code and related appendices, 2024 International Wildland Urban Interface Code, and other related fire protection codes and amendments, and providing other matters properly related thereto effective April 27, 2026.
And Member Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously.
All right,
sir.
thank you.
And we'll move on to planning and zoning public hearings and action items with 11.1.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is the second reading of Bill number 2853 for consideration of a development agreement by and between the City of Sparks and Northern Nevada Community Housing Resource Board for planning and development of a 0.96 acre site located at 306 10th Street, Sparks, Nevada. APN 032-191-17, PCN 26-0002, DA 26-0001.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson and members of council. My name is Amy Jones, Housing Specialist. I am before you today to present a development agreement between the City of Sparks and Northern Nevada Community Housing to develop an affordable housing project at 306 10th Street. You can see 306 10th Street identified in red on the map. The site is approximately 0.96 acres in size and located at the corner of 10th Street and Avenue of the Oaks in downtown Sparks. There is a vacant building located on the southern portion of the site, built in 1914. The site is situated within a neighborhood with mixed housing types, including single-family homes, multifamily apartments, and commercial businesses. The site is located in the city's mixed-use district with access to grocery stores, restaurants, shopping, parks, recreation, healthcare, and RTC's Centennial Plaza. As you are all very familiar, the 306 10th Street property was acquired through the Home Means Nevada initiative. The City of Sparks was awarded $2.8 million of Home Means Nevada funding for land acquisition, with the requirement that the land is only to be used for the development of affordable housing, serving households earning 60% of the area median income and below, and remaining affordable for no less than 30 years. Utilizing these funds, the city purchased 306 10th Street in April of 2024. A request for proposal to develop affordable housing on the site was issued in April of 2025, and 4 submissions were received. The affordable housing project submitted by Northern Nevada Community Housing was selected by the Sparks City Council in October of 2025. Northern Nevada Community Housing is a 501c3 cooperative corporation and community housing development organization. They own and operate 15 affordable housing properties throughout Washoe County, with 6 of those being located in the City of Sparks. And you may recall their most recent project, Truckee Heights, that was completed in 2023. Northern Nevada Community Housing is proposing to develop the Reserve at Sparks. They initially proposed the name of the project to be Rail House Apartments, but have since changed the name to the Reserve at Sparks based on the historical relevance of the neighborhood, which was referred to as the Reserve at the time Southern Pacific Railroad moved from Wadsworth to Sparks. The project will consist of a single 3-story building served by an elevator with 40 one-bedroom units, serving households earning 60% and below, with a veteran's preference. Northern Nevada Community Housing will provide 20 hours per week of supportive services to residents. Additionally, Northern Nevada Community Housing partners with the Food Bank of Northern Nevada to provide property-specific food access, supporting residents with fresh fruits and vegetables. And finally, the property will remain affordable for 50 years. The RFP required the developers to specify in their submission if the existing structure would be incorporated into the project or demolished. Northern Nevada Community Housing has committed to rehabilitating the existing single-family home on the site and repurposing it into community space for the residents. And the photo on this slide provides a conceptual rendering of the project. This slide provides a conceptual site plan for the Reserve at Sparks. The design of the project features a rooftop deck to allow residents to enjoy events downtown. An elevated deck will connect the community building to the residential units. Each unit will have a private patio and balcony. Additional site amenities will include a barbecue pit and picnic areas, as well as outdoor horseshoes. And finally, the project will include solar and energy efficient systems. And then this slide is just a conceptual elevations for the Reserve at Sparks. The proposed agreement between the City of Sparks and Northern Nevada Community Housing provides an overarching framework for the development of the subject site as affordable housing, while also ensuring compliance with the Home Means Nevada Initiative funding requirements. On this slide, you can see some of the key provisions of the development agreement. The site will be developed with a minimum of 40 dwelling units. The term of the DA is for 5 years with a 2-year extension option. Timeliness provisions propose an administrative review be submitted within 2 years and a building permit within 4 years. If development does not proceed under these timeframes, the property must be reconveyed to the city. Additionally, if the developer fails to complete construction of the project within 2 years after the issuance of the building permit, or ceases construction project progress for a continuous period of 9 months, or otherwise abandons the project, the property must be reconveyed to the city. The affordable housing provisions require all units to serve households earning 60% of the area median income and below, and all units must remain affordable for 50 years. The DA also outlines the additional agreements that must be in place. These include an assignment and assumption grant agreement to assume the city's interest and obligations under the Home Means Nevada Initiative Grant Agreement between the City of Sparks and the Nevada Housing Division, as well as the assignment and assumption agreement to assume the city's interest and obligations under the Declaration of Restricted Covenants running with the land. Northern Nevada Community Housing has applied for federal home funds through the Washoe County Home Consortium to support the financing of the project. Based on HUD regulations, the Washoe County Home Consortium has stipulated that the parcel cannot be transferred to Northern Nevada Community Housing until after the environmental review has been completed and approved by HUD. So therefore, language has been added to the DA, specifically stating that the property will be transferred to Northern Nevada Community Housing via quitclaim deed upon the receipt of HUD approval of the environmental review. Lastly, additional provisions require the property to be reconveyed to the city if the project is not constructed, partially constructed, or abandoned. In terms of findings, development agreements must be consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. The proposed agreement supports Goal MG4, Goal MG5, and Policy MG13 that promote infill development and the enhancement of downtown Sparks. The subject site is located in the city's mixed-use district and therefore has access to transit services, employment opportunities, healthcare, and recreation. Staff also views this agreement as consistent with the comprehensive plan because it outlines how the subject site will be transferred to a developer at no cost for the purpose of constructing affordable housing units, advancing Goal H1, Policy H2, and Policy H7. And pursuant to the agreement, a minimum of 40 units of affordable housing will be developed, serving households earning 60% AMI and below for a minimum of 50 years. The recommended motion for the adoption of Bill number 2853 is listed on the slide. Just a reminder, this is a public hearing. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, as well as Matthew Fleming, Executive Director of Northern Nevada Community Housing, is in the audience, should you have any questions of him.
Thank you. This is an exciting project, and thank you for the reminder. Member Vanderwell.
I don't have any questions. I just have a statement. I would like to thank Northern Nevada Community Housing for understanding and being that affordable housing developer that understands our housing insecure population and provides housing for those populations to live in dignity. So thank you.
Mr. Abbott.
Yeah, common theme today. Second that as well, or ditto, whatever we're saying anymore. But also, I think a shout out to you and your team, Mr. Fleming, of preserving the building. You know, it's not the most historic building in Sparks, but it still has a special place in a lot of our hearts downtown Sparks. I think it's a great use of reusing it, as well as the whole project is just amazing. Like, you know, incorporating where you can have people watch a concert. You know, which all the neighbors in that area are definitely incorporating. They're using that. You can go down in the concert and see that. But it was really neat to hear too about the 20 hours a week for veteran services. So I love the project too. Obviously it's in my ward too. So very thankful for being down there. And I'm ready to make a motion. There's no other. After the public comment.
Thank you. Yeah, and likewise, I want to say thank you. We did not make it easy on y'all by wanting to keep the facility that's already on there, the house, but you did a wonderful job of incorporating it into the project and still getting 40 units for families here in Sparks. So thank you.
One more comment.
One more comment.
Thank you. I love the whole project. The design is amazing. It's more than I would have, than I expected. Goes beyond, and again, keeping that keeping that old house for the historical value and then utilizing that. Love the veteran preference for sure. And then services or things that you can provide in that house to the people who are living there and creating a community gathering space for them. I love everything about it and I can't wait to see it done.
Right, ditto, there you go. All right, we're going to go ahead and open it up for public comment. Is there anyone in the public wishing to make a comment? All right, we'll close public comment, bring it back to the council for a motion. Member Abbott.
I move to adopt Bill number 2853, an ordinance approving a development agreement by and between the City of Sparks and Northern Nevada Community Housing Resource Board for planning and development of a 0.96 acre site located at 306 10th Street, Sparks, Nevada, APN 032-191-17, PCN 26-0002, DA 26-001.
And Member Vanderwell.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. Great job. Thank you, Amy. All right, 11.2.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is the second reading of Bill number 2854 to modify a final approved plan for the Kylie Ranch North Plan Development, Kylie Ranch North Phase 3 Final Handbook to 1, reduce the required minimum floor area ratio, FAR, applicable to villages 13 and 15 from 0.25 to 0.18. 2, revise commercial architectural standards related to roof forms to include allowances for flat roofs. And 3, allocate trips based on previously approved traffic analysis to villages 13, 15, 25, and 26 on a 98.4 acre site generally located east of Pyramid Way and west of David Allen Parkway, south of Wingfield Hills Road, and north of Sparks Boulevard, Sparks, Nevada. APNs 083-024-18, -19-22 and 083-830-74 and 083-830-75 in the NUD New Urban District, Kylie Ranch North Phase 3 Plan Development Zoning District.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the City Council. Sienna Reed, your city planner, here today. I am pinch hitting for Danny Ray and we'll be presenting this proposed amendment that the clerk read in its entirety, but it's an amendment to the Kylie Ranch North Phase 3 Plan Development Handbook. So here on this slide, you can see the full Kylie Ranch North Plan Development boundary in blue. That is a little bit less than 875 acres in size. And the smaller Kylie Ranch North Phase 3 Plan Development is bound in red. That is the subject of the amendment today. As you can see, that smaller Phase 3 area is located just east of Pyramid Way, west of David Allen Parkway, south of Wingfield Hills Road, and then north of Sparks Boulevard. The City Council initially adopted the Kylie Ranch North Phase 3 Development Handbook, or the Handbook, in 2007, and there have been several amendments over the years. The request before you today to amend the handbooks seeks 3 primary changes. The first being a reduction in floor area ratio from 0.25 to 0.18. That would be applicable to villages 13 and 15. The second change proposes to modify commercial architectural standards, primarily to allow for the integration of flat roofs for certain building types. And then the third change does allocate trips to each of the villages in Phase 3 based on previously approved traffic study. One thing to note is that staff are currently reviewing a companion administrative review for a master development plan. That plan would guide the development of a 371,886 square foot shopping center that is being marketed as the Kylie Ranch North Marketplace. And that would be proposed to be located in villages 13 and 15. And notably, approval of that administrative review is contingent upon approval of the handbook amendment before you today. So looking first at the proposed floor area ratio changes, floor area ratio is the ratio of total building area to land area. And you can see on this slide just a quick illustration of how floor area ratio can be applied to a parcel or site. So for a one-story building covering 100% of a lot, that is a floor area ratio of 1. If that building is increased to 2 stories and covers just 50% of a lot, you still have a floor area ratio of 1. What the handbook currently requires would be building coverage on 25% of a site. And so with a total of 46.7 acres in villages 13 and 15, the site would be required to construct a minimum of 508,563 square feet of commercial buildings, and reducing that overall FAR to 0.18 reduces the total required minimum square footage by 142,398 square feet, and that's a 28% decrease that's proposed. A fiscal impact analysis was provided to analyze what the impact of that reduction would be. That analysis looked at the impact over the larger Kiley Ranch North geography. That is the geography that has historically been utilized to analyze fiscal impacts, traffic impacts as well. And what the analysis found is that revenues of $66.4 million would be generated to the general fund over the 20-year analysis period, and a $20 million 0.2 deficit to the road fund would occur. Moving on next to the proposed change to architectural standards. The architectural standards in the handbook currently reflect the Northern Nevada agricultural and ranching settlements with gable, hip, and other dimensional roof lines. This request seeks to modify these architectural development standards based on the various sizes of buildings to allow for greater variation in allowed roof lines in response to changes in commercial and retail architectural design since the Kiley Ranch North Plan Development Handbook was initially approved. No other changes related to architecture are proposed. And then for the trip allocation, as development has continued to occur across the Kiley Ranch North Plan development, what has been determined is that there needs to be a mechanism to allocate trips for undeveloped land in Kiley Ranch North to preserve development opportunity for lands that are currently undeveloped. There was an initial traffic analysis in 2003 that was prepared for the entire Kiley Ranch North development. That analysis estimated trips for land use designations specified in the tentative handbook and really served as the foundation for traffic comparison moving forward. Since that original traffic impact analysis, there has been a revision that occurred in 2018. And since that time, really the nature of commercial development has changed. It's become more intense with the number of fast food restaurants and with drive-through facilities, as well as gas stations being requested. And these types of businesses really do generate a large amount of traffic. So to ensure that trips are reserved for undeveloped lands and avoid rendering the last undeveloped parcels undevelopable because there's no trips left for them, changes to the Phase 3 handbook are proposed. You can see how the allocation would lay out across villages 13, 15, 25, and 26 on this slide. And of note, Councilmember Rodriguez has sponsored an amendment, modifications to various handbooks so that we can ultimately implement this approach across all of Kiley Ranch North, but it is proposed here with this Phase 3 handbook today. So to shift gears from the overview of the amendment to the findings that council needs to consider this afternoon, an amendment to a plan development does have 10 required findings that need to be considered. And so to start off here with finding PDA, the requested modifications to development standards and the addition of that trip allocation methodology, those are consistent with the City of Sparks comprehensive plan because they will facilitate commercial development in an area that has been planned for commercial development since 2004, also promoting compact development and development flexibility in a location where infrastructure such as sewer, water, storm drain, and police and fire services are available, and then also providing for the potential continued growth of the Kiley Ranch North community for residents and businesses, supporting goals MG6, CC1, EV1, and policy MG11 of our comprehensive plan. The amendment, moving on, does not adversely impact surrounding uses as the modifications provide for increased flexibility in commercial development that's already allowed for in that Phase 3 handbook. The addition of the trip allocation provisions are not anticipated to adversely impact surrounding uses and really will instead provide a clear regulatory framework to allocate trips and ensure that adequate development of all villages in the handbook is possible. That supports findings PDB and PDH that you can see on this slide. And then in terms of analyzing the impacts of the proposed FAR reduction across the greater Kylie Ranch North area, as I discussed earlier in the presentation, the requested changes do not adversely impact the city from a fiscal perspective, and revenues in the amount of $66.4 million to the general fund are estimated over the 20-year analysis period. Moving on next, this amendment is intended to support the potential construction of commercial shopping center uses in a manner that is consistent with the original intent of the plan and furthers the mutual interest of residents, property owners, and the public by supporting construction consistent with that plan. And so for these reasons, the reliance of residents and owners upon the provisions of the plan will not be materially impaired and does not alter the character of the approved plan development, since the commercial uses are already permitted by the handbook. And this supports findings PDD, PDE, PDF, and PDG that you can see on this slide. Moving on, as proposed, the changes will allow any interested party to pursue development within the Phase 3 handbook in accordance with those standards supporting PDI. And finally, public notice was given as required by NRS and our municipal code on February 18th. A total of 181 notices were mailed to all owners of property within the Phase 3 handbook area and then within 750 feet of that outer boundary. And notice was also published in the Reno Gazette-Journal. And as of noon today, there has been no public comment received by staff for this particular item. So with that, the Planning Commission has forwarded a recommendation of approval for this amendment to City Council. With that, I'm happy to wrap up here and be available for any questions. I do want to note that the applicant's representative is here, as well as the full applicant team. And as a quick reminder, this item does require a public hearing at the appropriate time. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? All right. Well, comment?
Need some of that Sparks PD money for the technology. I just want to say thank you. I know this has been a heavy lift, and again, with the owners, I know this has been a lot of work back and forth, and getting kudos to city manager, helping, and staff. So just thank you for getting this all together.
Of course. All right. If we don't have any other questions, we'll open it up for public comment. Do we have anyone from the public wishing to make comment? All right. We're going to go ahead and close it, bring it back for a vote. Do we have a motion? Member Rodriguez, good luck.
So moved.
Are we good with that? Okay.
Put the lawyer back. And I move to approve, adopt bill number 2854 to amend the final approved plan for the Kylie Ranch Phase 3 plan development to number 1, reduce the minimum, this is what happens when we read the whole thing. Reduce the required minimum floor area ratio FAR applicable to villages 13 and 15 from 0.25 to 0.182. Revise commercial architectural standards related to the roof forms to include allowances for the flat roofs, and 3, allocate trips based on the previous approved traffic analysis to villages 13, 15, and 25, and 26 on a 98.4 acre site. APNs 083-024-18-19-22-083-0 0830-74 and -083-0830-75 based on the findings PDA through PDJ and the facts supporting those findings as set forth in the staff report.
That was easy.
Not to go.
Is it?
Really?
Yeah. For the month.
Just, you don't have to read the whole thing, just where it says APNs.
What?
Can you clarify the last two APNs for the scope of
Okay.
the motion?
So APN,
The 74 and 75 APNs, you added a couple numbers on each one.
okay, so, all right. Going back. So APNs, so for the second reading of the APN, so 083-0, yeah, that's where it was. So 083-830-74 and 083-830-75.
Perfect.
Okay.
And Member Vanderwell.
And I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Great job filling in. All right, we're going to go ahead and move to item 12.1, public comment. Do we have any public wishing to make comment? All right, with that, we'll come into 12.2, announcements from the mayor, city council, city manager. City manager? Nothing? City council? All right, I've got a bunch. So I just want to let people know that this Saturday, May 2nd, from 8 a.m. to noon, KTMB will be doing several cleanups around our community, including 3 different ones here in Sparks. Please come out and join me at Cottonwood Park off of Spice Island. Member Abbott, are you going to be at Rock Park? Okay, Rock Park, and then they're going to be doing another one off of Solomon Circle at the top over there. Then Saturday, May 9th, Tumwa has their Smart About Water Days at Idlewild Park, the California building. If you ever wanted to know anything about water supply, what's going on with water in our region and the future of water, show up there between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. for some wonderful information. A lot of it's even hands-on demonstrations there. And then Sunday, May 17th, Nevada Veterans Memorial Plaza will have their fundraiser golf tournament at 8 a.m. At Red Hawk. And you can sign up for that at the initials for Nevada Veterans Memorial Plaza, nvmp.us. And that is it. Woohoo. Oh, never mind. See, I talked long enough, someone thought of something else. Member Vanderwell.
Yes, I just want to reshare this, that the Northern Nevada Apprenticeship Coordinators Association will be doing an open house of all their training facilities this Saturday, May 2nd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And they are at the multiple participating locations. And there is a safety reminder to wear pants, closed-toed shoes, and no jewelry.
You can't go without pants?
Yes, please make sure you wear pants.
All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you.